Just send it.
Good evening.
Happy Monday.
Monday. Hello, Nicole, Nikki, Patricia. I saw you up there somewhere. Teresa, how's everyone doing? Monday. Whoopee. Hello, Karen. Hello, Anna. How are you? Hope you guys had a good weekend. We're back at it. Good evening, John McGinnis. How are you? Hello, Deb. Gang's all here. Monday night. Big thrilling live stream planned. You betcha. Um, you know how I want to start by getting on my soapbox a little bit here. Hello, Kathy. How are you? Hello, Donna Schultz. We got the whole gang here that was here Saturday night, which we'll get to first. I just want to say that
Hi, Christina.
There's a reason why every now and then I'll say something and I'll do that like they're watching.
Because they are.
Because they are watching. I literally talked about doing an event next spring or an overnight where a few of us get together, and I mentioned it on one live stream or two live streams.
Hey, Rob.
And literally another group the next day came out and said, hey, you know what we're going to do? We're going to do this new event.
Just what you just said.
We've innovated this new thing we want to do where we're going to have a few people and stay overnight with them. It's literally why everybody tells me if I have an idea, don't mention it online here, because everybody's watching. And it's literally like being Willy Wonka, and the Slugworths are all around doing what they do. It's like, man, if you can't think of an original idea, then yeah, go ahead and grab the product, put your label on it, and say
that's exactly right.
Say
Lauren.
it's yours,
Don't
and
say
you created
nothing,
it.
no more. But here's the thing: eventually, they're gonna do it anyways. That's how it works.
Says the person who doesn't come up with these things, but that's okay. Anyway.
Oh, no. I come up with my own stuff.
Okay. Well, let's hear it.
No, I'm not saying.
All right.
It'll be stolen.
She doesn't even tell me.
No,
so I don't even know about the stuff she comes up with.
No.
But maybe I'll hear about it one day. But
listen,
yes.
and then you hear that, copying is a form of flat, blah, 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 with that crap. Well, people watch to take because they can't think for themselves, and they can't. Well, thank you for that, Nikki.
That'll happen, but it's just really frustrating because it's like it really is just like you say something, you say you're going to do something, and almost no, Imitation is copying. It's just, it is what it is. Again, the easy way is to just take what everyone else does, put your label on it, and say, "Hey, look what I did." But I don't go that way. I've never done it that way. But that's sidebar. If you're watching, you know who you are. You know what you do. There'll be no more of that from me.
And you're welcome. That's what you should say.
I know you're not welcome. I didn't say that. You did.
It was a sarcastic. You're welcome.
We Camp Evans, the final event of the year with the legend, Mr. John Zaffis. We'll see him at the expo, but it's our last one that we're doing with him as far as New Jersey Paranormal this year. I'm sure we'll do more with him next year because we have a great time doing it. I see a lot of names from a lot of people that were there, and I know make it a unique event that they can't do that. They will do it because they're going to hear about it.
No. There's only
rip
one.
It off.
No, what she's saying is there's only one savior.
Nope.
Paranormal savior. There's only one. Nobody can imitate that. Hey, Sally.
So anyway, there are a lot of people here. Sally being one of them, Nikki being one of them, Patricia, Donna, Kathy, a lot of people, Nicole. They were all there Saturday night with the legend John Zaffis, and we had a good time. You could, what is that saying? The best laid plans. You could have the best plans in the world, and this has happened to me like twice in the last 2 or 3 months, and crap happens that just basically, Alex was there, that just basically pulls the rug out from under you. We're doing Liberty Hall. I've been to Carriage House many times. I know where I get really good EVPs. I get my first group in there. I'm ready to go. I'm excited. Let's do this. We're going to start with a EVP session, and they're cutting down a tree that fell in the road. And I'm like,
funny, Laura.
It literally ruined like what I was planning on doing with my first group and second group. So here we are, fast forward now to Camp Evans. Last time I was able to shut off the air and the heat just by going on the thermostat and just turning it off. Silence. I get real good EVPs in this one old hallway. First group comes down there. I think that was Nikki's group, and everything is so loud. I couldn't do any EVPs. And after that group, Nikki, I think that was the first group. I got it so it would turn on and off intermittently. I got it better, but not great. But I did get great EVPs after that, here and there. But for that first group, I was like so pissed off already. And it's like right off the bat, because, we're all excited. John's there. We did the haunted objects first. And then we jump into doing the building, and I'm like, good. You have your go-to spots. I went to my go-to spot. I do the first EVP session, and you're not going to hear a whisper over any of that.
No.
Most EVPs are whispers. And I'm just like, son of a you-know-what. So I start to get like internally, I'm like bubbling because I'm like, I'm going to have 4 more groups and take EVPs out of it. That's why the Creeper Gallery frustrates me a little bit, because same thing. So anyway, it was a good night overall. I had some really cool things happen in my, let's see, lots of people are coming here. Patricia, Maria, they're all
Melissa's
here.
Parents were there last night.
Melissa. So if any of you guys want to come on, Chris has the link.
I put it up. I'll do it again.
Well, she put it up at the beginning. She'll keep putting it up intermittently. If any of you want to come on, just click the link, follow the instructions. I'll see you pop up in the guest section on my screen up there on my phone, and I'll bring you. Hey, Donna, family show. None of that.
I'd like to hear what that was.
You may have seen an apparatus if that happened. Oh, Lisa's not watching. And if any of you want to come on and join us, it's better if you guys were to participate, because again, we're only in 2 sections.
Yeah.
And we spread out, I think, to 5 different ones this time. So if stuff was happening in areas where we weren't and it happened to you.
We didn't get to talk to the team members about any of that.
I mean, even so, it's their experiences.
Yeah,
if it happened and they want to share it, come on and share it. We all know each other. We're all friends here, except for the rat bastards that are watching and stealing. But we're all friends here. So you guys want to come on and just talk about it?
It'd be nice to hear your experiences there.
We knew that we were going to have, besides John. John's awesome. John's always awesome. I can listen to John lecture every day, you know, and he's been doing this so long. He's got so many stories about so many, and there's so many different things that fascinate him that he talks about. So I love just being around the guy. And when you guys were gone and him and I were just sitting at the table at the end of the night and we're just talking about paranormal related stuff and things and other things, and just even that, I enjoy just being around him and talking to him and having him there. He had 4 different objects this time. One was a necklace. The other was a hospital gown that was supposedly from an asylum. The other was this little hoodoo looking doll, like an idol looking thing. What would you call that thing?
Yeah, it was like an idol.
Idol.
And Mary Jane.
And what was the other one? What else am I missing?
The doll, the clown. The clown thing. That
that was the creepy one. The music one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we brought 4 objects with them. The musical clown, right. Now, I got a vibe from both the gown and the music doll. And we let people come up and handle them, those who want to. A lot of people didn't, which surprises me. I get being a little leery and stuff, but I mean, why not try to handle them or just to see what you would feel like? You know what I mean?
If you guys want to come on and talk about your experiences, click on that link.
Yeah, the StreamYard link. But yeah, you get a vibe right away, and I did right away from either the gown or the doll. It gave me a real bad headache, and so we investigated them first. I thought we'd get more EVPs and stuff out of that, but so then we go in the building, and like I said, my first group was tough because of it. We had a guest with us, two people that were. One of which worked there, and his wife was with them, and her name was Barbara. And when she was like the ultimate trigger object, I think she might have been my second group, and boy did she get the action rolling, or my third group, because she had made mention in this one section of this hallway where all the World War II communication exhibits are, and the shipwreck area exhibit. She had made mention that she was walking down that hall and somebody tripped her. And I was like, wait, what? And she was just like, yeah. So, of course, I used that. And she asked out loud if that person was there. And they said no. And then as we're going through the EVP session, one of the coolest things, when this happens, you're just like, yes. We go through the session, and I'm the last one to ask the question. I literally took my flashlight in the dark, and I pointed it at Barbara. And I said, what's this woman's name right here that I'm putting my flashlight on? Barbara, EVP. Boom. Boom.
What was her reaction?
Everybody was looking at her like, what? Clear as day. And there was a female. Again, I've never, ever interacted with a female in that hallway before. It's always men in the shipwreck area and the communication. That female, first time. How many times have I been down there? First time came out of nowhere. So I had a lot of pretty cool.
She was a trigger object.
She was following her everywhere.
I do have to say the attic was pretty active, and the cages were they were crazy. Hi, Rhonda. And even behind, off to the side by the window there, past the cages, there was stuff going on there too. So the one thing I want to say to everybody that comes to the event, thank you so much for being willing to try all the different things that we try, and being separated and spreading out and doing, and really getting into the whole idea of trying to experiment and trying to see if we can get reactions. The 3 girls that had just come for the first time to our event, They went into a cage by themselves, and boy, let me tell you, you stood outside in the dark, and everything was going like beep, 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 like every time you turned around, it was just insane. This one woman, and God forgive me because I can't remember her name, and I know who she is.
That's first.
I know. It's because I'm just kind of tired. But the candle, all night long, did not do a single thing. She goes in with the candle. She's standing there and she's talking, and the bloody candle all of a sudden is on command, coming on and going off as she's talking to it and asking questions. And she just like, he always puts a look on his face when I say
bloody candle. And it's just like,
stuff.
Who from this country says the bloody anything except for you? And you have no ties at all to the UK or to England.
That has nothing to do with why you say bloody candle.
It's like me calling someone a wanker or something. That wanker, that bloody wanker.
There you go, Marianne. Say thank you. It was you that was going off. Thank you, Marianne. Say,
well, that bloody thing was going off in your hand, Marianne.
I'm going to give you a bloody nose. But anyways, like I was saying, it's really unique when different things start happening that you don't expect to happen.
Well, they mentioned the shadow that you and Sam saw.
Oh my God, yes. John Zappis was in doing an echo, his echo box over by the... But he was off doing a echo box section, and over by where the dollhouse is, it kind of gets a little crowded. So Sam and I stepped out into the hall there of the attic, and we were just standing out by the Christmas stuff in that cage.
No, New Hampshire, John.
I am from New England, New Hampshire, which is New England.
Is it? Well, yeah, you're right. She. I guess that part of the old language still exists in the backwoods where she was living.
And that was what Barbara was saying about how they drowned in the tunnels, and you guys were getting drowned. They kept getting drowned up there.
Yeah, but there's also the shipwreck.
Yeah, there's a shipwreck. There's a lot of
because we got tons of drowning.
There's a lot of stuff that's going on that starts downstairs to come out and come around. But yeah. Sam is it. If you guys don't know Sam debunks everything. I am logical. I'm straightforward. This is like, no, this was that, da 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 da. And so, yeah, this was in the attic we saw. So Sam and I are standing next to each other. I see this big mask go right in front of us, and it freaks me. And I go, and I'm doing my gauge check. Sam, did you see that? She goes, right in front. And I go, was that what I think it was? She goes, it was. And I said, and I'm just want her to tell me, no, it was a shadow of something else. It was all explained. And she goes, no, we actually had a shadow figure go right in front of us. And it was crazy. Insane.
So, was that a shadow I saw? Sam, I love Sam. Those of you who don't know, Sam is Danielle's daughter. And we've known Sam since she was 11 years old. And Sam was the only child that we let really come on ghost hunts ever, and because she was mature and intelligent way beyond her years. And I always call her my Charlie Bucket, because when I do leave this paranormal thing behind, she's gonna be my Charlie Bucket and inherit NJP and
the kingdom.
Take it into the future.
The kingdom.
So you have that to look forward to whenever that happens.
So real quick, there's John and I are telling stuff. There's nobody that wants to click and come on and talk about your experiences.
They don't want to be.
You don't have to. I'm just saying. I put the link there again, unless there's a problem with it, and if there is, just let me know. But it's real simple. John would just bring you up on the screen, and you would be able to tell, instead of us regurgitating your story.
Yeah, because we have no idea what happened anywhere else. You guys
could say what happened and what you guys experienced, because we don't get to sit and talk with you guys at the end and find out. And it'd be really cool to see what you guys went through for the night.
And Donna Schultz was sitting in an area where before an SLS figure had appeared and was like tapping her on her head.
It's okay, Donna. You can click on it. Come on.
But this time she sat in that same chair, and whoever was there, this female, was like, didn't want to come anywhere near her or anyone else. They just kept bending away and turning on. When she put out her hand to like touch the area, the hand that they were waving with, they took and went like this.
Pull back.
Yeah. So there was somebody different. And I like that, because I don't like predictability. I don't like feel like I'm talking to it's nothing wrong with talking to the same person over and over, like Captain John or anything like that. But it's always cool when somebody else comes in, and yeah, Patricia has a picture of it. When something else comes in that you weren't expecting, and then with me again, I'm the way my brain works. I spend the rest of the night just trying to figure out who that is and why they're there this time and not before, and So I mean, it was that building's always fun. That building, John's there. When John's there, I've never had a bad time when John was there ever. Maybe it's because he's there, you know. So I got him at the end of the night when he was pretty tired, and he turned his Echo Vox on and he's doing his thing, and he got the same names he got the last time that were related to the shipwreck. He was getting those, and then I kept telling him, look, I'm getting real good EVPs from the communication room behind me. And he's like, you want to go in there? And there's this one woman, I don't know if she's watching. I'm horrible at names. She definitely doesn't come to a lot of our events, but she's come to a few of them. So they come walking in, her, and I assume it's her husband. And she says to me, boy, full crowd tonight. And I'm like, yeah, well, John Zaffis is here. And she's like, yeah, why do you think we came? And I was like, well, thank you. I'm like, so we're just what?
What did you
And she was like, I didn't mean, so every time, like when John was up there doing his lecture and I had to come up and explain the equipment really quick before we did the haunted objects, I would look at her and go, I'm sorry, I'm just going to take 5 minutes away from John's time to explain things and get this other part started.
Can't get in.
And then she was in, she was on my last group with John. And like I said, John was tired at the end of the night, and he did his Echo Vox. And then I said, I'm taking everybody in to do EVPs. And I said, that's okay with you. I don't want to take away the time from John by doing what I'm going to do. But yeah, she said that. She was just like, well, why do you think I'm here? And I'm like, I get it. You're a fan. I'm a fan of his. I drove all the way to Gettysburg to meet the guy for the first time, 3 hours just to meet him. So I get that, but I wouldn't say to the poor slub next to him, oh, I'm not here for you. I'm here for that guy.
Yeah, there's no way to.
I was bloody insulted. I was.
You can't bring someone in from there, huh? They have to go through that.
She could do it on the.
She couldn't get him in. She couldn't get in.
You could do it on the laptop. I don't think I can do it this way. And I could, to try it, I would probably do something. I'd have to look here. Let's see if Chris could entertain you why I try this.
No, so John loves the charity room.
I can't do it.
It won't let you?
No.
Dingleberries.
And some of us will drive 3 hours to see you guys in Gettysburg. Yes, that is very much appreciated as well. Believe me. We had a couple there drive how long?
Oh, there were people that drove over
4 hours.
Yeah.
We had people the one time when we were at Burlington Prison. They drove 6 hours, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what? And they're like, yeah, we want to come down here and meet you guys. And I was just like, and again, it was for a ghost hunt. And it's like, you want to give them like you want to give everybody the best time ever, but you want to give people that traveled for the first time 4 hours, 5 hours, 6. You want to give them,
So you know your little girl upstairs that we think that little girl is attached to that dollhouse, and the doll are still there that Ben guy put. Ben from TV Pix 11 still sits there, and the candy that Tanya put down, that's still there after all this time. And someone else left a mint for her too. But with John, what you guys don't know is when John Zaffis was up there, I think he was my second session. They asked the question what it wanted, and a little girl's voice said gum. And in an EVP session and with another group, a voice said gum. When they asked if you wanted to leave sweets or what would you like, it said gum. So we got to bring gum, prepackaged gum, to leave by the dollhouse for her when we go back, because that's obviously what she likes.
There was a woman who drove from Connecticut to come to the Creeper Gallery event. Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Who was saucy?
I'm saying the little girl. She never saucy with me. Chris brings that out in people. I believe, because I've never got a bad word. I got a bad word from the guy at the other side. That's where I had saucy.
I think she did get a little bit saucy.
Well, he must bring it out.
Yeah, she did say some bad words.
Well, he must bring it out. He must bring it out. She did.
Yep.
Yeah, I've never ever.
Yep.
See.
But that wasn't with me. It was with John Zaffis. Am I correct, ladies? That's when John Zaffis was up there?
Well, John was bringing out them then.
She was, wasn't she? Yes.
No, but he
because he said, I'm not repeating that.
Well,
he says, I'm not going there.
Well, like I said, he I enjoy him being at our events so much, just for me personally, you know, and he sold a lot of books that night. A lot of people were buying his books, and he had a great time, and he enjoyed it. And like I said, we were discussing about doing one more. We were gonna do the November 30th Centenary University event with him, but we couldn't do it. Oh, that's somebody's there. See, somebody got in. Let's see who this is. Prank caller?
It's Donna. She got in.
I thought you couldn't get in. I thought you were lying.
She figured it out.
Hello.
Lying, Donna?
Huh?
You lying? You said you couldn't get in.
No, I couldn't get in, but I took a little while to work at it, and I did.
Okay.
All right, now I'm going to kick it right back up.
No.
So go ahead. What do you want to talk about? What was your experience?
So no, just about the SLS thing that you said, like previously when we had been there another time, there was one that was patting me on the head to command. Remember that?
Yeah.
So this time it was afraid of me and it kept going away. But when I was sitting on a chair in the middle of the room when we were doing EVPs, I was just sitting there minding my own business. And all of a sudden I felt like my right hand, it felt like a spider web had been laid over it and dragged across it. And I know people, I was like, what is that? And then I thought, that's what people say it feels like when they're sometimes touched by a ghost. So I was like, it was definitely a feeling I've never had before. And I was like, wow, that was really cool.
Did you feel any coldness or temperature change at all? Or any other feeling other than just the tickle across your hand like that?
It was a little cool. It was like a cool sensation.
Yeah, I usually ask people that stuff too, because sometimes when something subtle happens, there's other subtle things that are happening that we usually don't catch on to.
Yeah,
she said to me, "You mind if I do that experiment again where I sat in a chair?" And I'm like, "Yeah, go ahead, go over there," because we had been mapping a figure there the whole entire time, and she sat down and she couldn't see it from her angle. Patricia and everybody else could see it. Whoever that person was just like this, and then I just explained to them before, you put your hand out, and they literally tucked their hand in like no. And it was funny that after you went away and sat in another area, you said that's when you felt like your hand was touched. It was almost as if like they were kind of like feeling you out, and then when you moved away, they might have went over to you and said, "Okay."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Was this by the shipwreck or by
No, this was down the other communication.
In the radio room.
Yeah, and this was a different female. I don't think this was the same person as last time. This was someone totally different, and they were well aware.
Yeah, you said that. I don't think it's the same spirit, because the one that was patting me on the head was totally into it. Yeah, this guy whoever this was, seemed to be very withdrawn and scared.
Well, you mentioned that, and yeah, but that's funny what she says, because when Barbara was in that group, whoever the female was upset. I mean, she was like, "Leave, stop." I said, "What's your name?" "No name." That was what the EVP said. I mean, she just kept, and Barbara's looking at me like, "Are you going to continue with her saying, don't stop," and all this other stuff? And I said, "Tell you what, out of respect, we're going to go down to the other area." We went down to the other area, and I put the music box facing that area still while we were all down the other way. And it was almost like she was just kind of walking up and keeping her distance and still keeping an eye on us, because that music box kept playing ding, 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 ding from the other end. Like it's almost like she came out just to watch, make sure we were Something about Barbara.
Barbara
She
did.
did
Barbara
like
was
her.
a trip, but Barbara, I don't know if you guys knew that, but Barbara actually was one of the ones that was part of the group that went in their beginning and was scraping and repainting and redoing and bringing that place back when it was debilitated and they took it over. So she spent a lot of time in that building redoing it and cleaning it up.
See, we didn't hear anything about that either.
Our
I
group
think that's my favorite room. Something always happens in there, especially when John's there.
I think
you too, Jason.
I think there is a familiarity that comes in some places and some, when we do these buildings over and over again. That's why you notice, even though you're not in every group, I reintroduce myself every single time. A new group comes in, they introduce themselves. I mention my name because I want my name to be familiar, when they see me the next time.
And if there's a possibility of another spirit coming through, you don't want to miss that.
Or if there's one that just don't like me, they know to go away. All right. Thanks, Donna.
All right. That was quick, but it was a big thing for me. So that's it.
That's a big deal.
In touch. That's what this is all about. And that's what happened to Deb.
Did feel like exactly described.
But Deb was crazy. Had experienced this before in the past, but in the mind, she saw a shadow figure run up on her, and she went like this, and it freaked her out.
She reacted. So they caught a figure on the.
Yeah, I'm gonna let Donna go. Donna, thanks for coming on. We'll talk to you soon. Yeah, I didn't hear anything at all about the game camera because Tanya and Kenny had to leave right after the event. So we usually go to the Wawa and we talk about. But if anybody saw that picture and wants to come on and describe it, Alex, I'm looking at you.
Or even talk about what happened in the basement or the second floor or any of those places.
But I do like going to although there is a part of me, like I've been in the attic. I've investigated that whole building. I've done it by myself. But there is a part of me that, again, I go into these buildings like the Inns Keep, the Van Horn, Camp Evans, and I go to the same area because I want to see if they remember me, and I want to see if I can build upon what I've done before as far as rapport. Last time we went to the Inns Keep, the guy who's usually he's not so aggressive. I think somebody else came in this time because this person was really mentioning things that were just off the like, whoa, like where did you come? And I think it was either a passer through or somebody that.
You don't think it could be something attached to, like I said, something because
they could have brought something in from somewhere for all I know.
Someone was on the board that might have been associated.
Well, yeah, that embalming board. But that's part of, like I said, the Paranormal Center is the most familiar building to us. We've been in that building, I can't tell you how many times over the last 15 years.
And not just for ghost hunting, just on regular because
but the ghost hunting, especially doing the paranormal stuff. And when I went into that office for the first time last year for our event, and I got all those EVPs from someone claiming they were from the cemetery across the street, I was like a kid in a candy store. I think Kathy might have been there for that one. And I was just like, where did you come from? And he was talking, and I was just like, yes, you don't want that to stop because you're just like, please tell us all you want to tell us. Keep it. That's what's so hard, even with the objects, when you get one that's really, last thing you want to do is like, all right, it's an hour. We have to move on to the next,
Yeah.
But speaking of the Creeper Gallery, I'm planning on going probably tomorrow night. I don't know if someone else will join me, but it's been 2 weeks, so I plan on going. There's some new objects and stuff I want to, and last time we had a little bit of a hard time with some of the objects, so I'm itching to get back in there and try some new stuff and do some other things. Byron was where the first touch from our cranky friend in the boiler room, flat cold hand on right middle of my back. Boiler room. You're talking about the downstairs
basement. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the Quaker guy, or so we thought it was. But Ben had a lot of channel 11. Ben, he had a lot of experiences down there, And again, it stinks because Ben, 3 years in a row we worked with him, but he was really freaked out by the last one we did. Was that Liberty Hall or was that Camp Evans? Camp Evans?
That what?
Camp Evans was the last one. I'm sorry, I'm talking to them. I know you don't pay attention. Camp Evans was the last one we did with Ben, and he was really freaked out by some of the stuff that happened, and then he went home. And there was, again, it was totally coincidental that his dogs were barking at something, and he heard a crash downstairs, and it really freaked him out. But I think that kind of made him heightened aware of what potentially could happen if he keeps
It wasn't
doing...
just going through a cutesy made up little horror house or little scare that is not real. The reality of the fact is that things can happen that you can't see, and you can't, you hear things from things that aren't logical and make no sense. You don't know. So
but he was fine. After, again, I reached out to him the day after that, everything was fine. But I think just the idea,
the reality of it,
what could happen, kind of freaked him out. So they said they caught a EVP in the bunk room.
Yeah, said kickball. What's your favorite game? I said kickball, that's pretty cool.
It's great doing the investigation, but it's also great to see everyone. Great
Thank
group
you,
of people.
Alex.
Yeah. Again,
we feel the same.
It's really, really cool for us to see when the new people come in, and you get the other people that have been with us before, and it's just, you see how easy it is for them when everybody makes it so easy. You can tell they know each other. The other people have been there before, and you get 7 or 8 new people, and they're like looking around like, what is this? What are we doing? And yet they're in groups with people, that know us and everything. And they just integrate everybody. And then the next thing you know, they're part of it. You know what I mean? Whatever it is, they become part of it. And they're like, I want to come again.
I'm happy to hear that, Melissa.
Last weekend had a great, and that's the thing. Hopefully when people join us for the first time, we do make an impression. Hopefully it's a good one. And they want to come again and again. Those younger women that we met at a convention, they came because they lived in Jersey. It was 15 minutes. They were like, are you kidding? We love this. We're going to be back for more events next year.
Yeah, they had a lot of, I was surprised. I'm not going to lie to you. I was really surprised.
I missed it.
What?
No, I was reading something.
I was really surprised with the activity that was up in the attic, and how everybody jumped right in very quickly. And Peter, there was a spirit that kept calling Peter up in the attic.
Yeah.
It was constant, wanting to talk to Peter.
That person said that, God, my memory, I'm going to my old age. I think your name was Mike Walter. Said he got an EVP with Tanya. He said he held up 4 fingers and has so many fingers, and I think he said he called him an a-hole.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, it didn't like you're mocking me, like I'm
Well, they must have thought it was the middle finger, because in the dark, maybe they just could see one finger clearly and thought maybe he was flipping them to birds. I'll never forget that voice that said DeWitt, and we thought he was saying, oh, I got to tell you another crazy thing that happened too. Oh, DeWitt, yeah, that was one of the pictures on the hallway.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
I got to tell you another thing that happened too.
Cool.
And again, my hearing's not that great, and fortunately for me, there are people with much, much better hearing.
Like Nikki. Nikki has great hearing. In
that room, Nicole, and I think Sally, I think we're in there, and I think the group before them kept saying to me that they would hear someone whistling. They would hear like, and I didn't hear it. I didn't hear it at all. I heard the bangs coming from down the hallway, but no whistling. And then we're listening back to an EVP session in the room, and he or she did it twice. And it was both in the same pattern. They'd go,
like a code to each other?
It was so weird. And I caught it on the recorder. And they were like, I've been hearing that behind me in the corner the whole time. I'm like, and you never think to tell me? So like, I didn't know what it was, and that was the same corner where Donna was sitting in the chair where we kept.
I wonder if it was like,
figure.
like when you're out in the field and you're like that's how they communicate back and forth, like just like a code.
But that's what I'm saying. They're in a building like that that's so old and has so many people work, and then you have all that equipment from the wars that was used out in the field. I mean, they could be walking.
You heard a voice in
all
the
around
radio
that
too.
place.
The women in our group heard a whistle too. Yeah, not me, so I'm right there with you. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they heard it in the corner, and I'm just like, oh yeah, I heard it twice, and I'm like, you never said anything?
Did you ever get
And the knock in the room, that was awesome, man. I'm outside the door. I'm outside the room in the hallway with people, and this was only one group where I went, I'm going to knock 3 times. It might have happened twice, and I want you to knock, repeat it. And I went boom, 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 in the room behind me with the whistling, boom.
So did you ever been up in the attic and hear like banging, like all of a sudden like something is?
Oh, again, I've been up there in a while, so it's kind of hard for me.
So everybody in one of the cages doing an EVP, and all of a sudden there was a bang that happened out over the other side, and then it happened, and I think Alex was in that group too, and then there was a bang that came from the other side, and all of us were accounted for, so it was none of us, and it was pretty wild. But I think the thing that intimidated me is that we were in one of those cages.
Donna said she heard a voice in there too. I didn't hear a voice in there. I think other people said they did.
We were in the cage all with the doors closed, and that when we heard that, and it was just like you're stuck in there. So yeah, we got in the last cage.
That place again, it's unique. It's very unique. And again, when John's there, it was so funny because again, John showed up and the clouds were still there, but the rain had kind of stopped. And he was joking with me, he's like, every time I come here, I said, that's what I was saying on the live. I said, I'm showing people the clouds and I'm going, John must be within 20 minutes because look at that sky. But again, I look forward to doing events with him again next year. And I know he will. If he's up for it, I'm sure he will because we had such a great time with him this year. We're going to see him again at the expo, which would be great to hang out with him for the weekend. But I enjoyed this year so much just doing those events with him.
Oh yeah, he's so there was another thing that was really funny in one of the groups that happened. I was coming up the rear. Colleen led him. I don't know if we were coming back from break or whatever, but I was way behind trying to get up the stairs, and everybody was in front of me. And when I get up, and nobody realized that Colleen had set a perimeter of cat balls all the way down where nobody was walking. It was all on the other side. And as they're all walking back, the very last person goes past, and a cat ball would light up, and then they pass the other one. It was like something was following behind them, and I was like, "You guys didn't even notice that the cat balls are going off as you guys are marching in."
I told you that. Not that it's Camp Evans related. The freakiest thing, two freaky things that happened with cat balls in my experience with cat balls. At the White Hill Mansion, we watched one fly off the countertop right in front of us. Yeah, so we got it on film. Cool. We barely caught it, but we caught it flying off. And then at the Sterling Hill Mine with Cody and Satori, when they had one of their dot Liza in that room all the way at the end of the bottom of the basement, I literally watched the cat ball roll forward, roll back, and roll forward. I've never, ever, ever seen that. And I was like, the whole time in amazement, are you seeing this? And Cody was watching it right there with me, and went forward and went back, and then it went forward. I was crazy. Like, you want to talk about something nuts? That we just love doing it. Yeah, John is Yoda, man. John is the guy who just, the stories, they're not stories either. See, that's the thing. He's done it. It's not a story. It's an experience.
Yeah.
He's lived it. So all the things that he's talking about, and he'll share any of his beliefs with you. And there's stuff that he says that even I mean, again, if you were there for the lecture, he talks a lot about stones and, crystals or whatever that are part of ancient collections, and how some are bad luck, and the stone was in the
And you don't
seat
believe in
of,
that.
and I don't believe in that. I don't. And there are people that know it, and they look at me at these events, and I'm like,
But
I respect the hell out of the guy. I do, but
then how can you think that's not like wearing I gifted you, you had a cross that you used to wear, and all bad stuff kept happening, so now you won't wear that cross anymore. I bought you a new one, bad stuff happened, so you won't wear that one anymore.
right.
So how can they have power, but yet
I gave it that power. It may have been all coincidental, but I assigned
so you don't think
all of
anyone can give,
my bad luck to that thing, and I won't touch it again.
so you don't think that magic rock, crystal
You
rocks,
could give
like
magic rocks power. I gave it that. I'm not saying there's anything really wrong with those things. I had bad luck when I wore them. So
Luann,
if I had bad luck when I wore this shirt one day, I won't wear it again.
yeah, I know
Something bad happened.
So Luann, at the bar that they serve, actually at the where everybody sits down, it's like a lip that goes up and over. So the cat ball was down here. It didn't roll right off. It literally came across, went up and over the bar, and then down. And it was the craziest thing. And it happened so fast and took us all by surprise. I think we literally, I caught it just as it went airborne, and nobody was over in that area. It was insane that happened.
There's a chance we might be going back there next year. There's a chance. We're kind of figuring out next year a little bit now, and there's some things in play that we'll see what happens with different things in different places. And of course, I don't want to mention. You're right. I shouldn't mention anything because they're like, "Wait a minute, what did he say? Where's he going? Where?" Announce an event there tomorrow. We're going there tomorrow. So I really can't. Yeah, that was crazy. You know what? But those things give you such the adrenaline from stuff like that is so cool. Yeah, John. She said so much knowledge, and he's so excited to talk about it. That's what I like about him so much.
He's an engaging speaker.
Oh my God, he's just like I said. He's Google Paranormal. Before there was the internet or anything, you could go to John and just say, "Hey, what are your thoughts about that?" Like I wanted to know about a parapsychologist, so I went to him first. Hey, you ever hear of this person? And he'll give me his opinion. Hey, I heard about this person. I'm thinking of bringing them to the expo. What do you know about that? Or you
ask him about what he believes about this, or what he thinks about a certain technique.
He told me, and again, I won't say where. I will say it's not New Jersey, so people can't go looking this up anywhere. It's not New Jersey. It was out of state. But someone had contacted me, and I think I told this story before. They lived in a condo where a murder and dismemberment had taken place. And this person was found, the victim, and they believe that the person was murdered in the condo, dismembered in the condo, put into a suitcase, but they found the suitcase somewhere else, in like a river or something. And eventually the evidence led to the person that they were with, and they were convicted, and the person confessed that the murder took place in the condo along with the dismemberment. So these new people are now living in that condo. That condo was, again, it was
Did they know?
Big story. Yeah, they knew after. After things started happening, they researched because people told them, but they didn't know initially. So
I thought you had to reveal something like that when you sell.
I don't know.
Like
condo,
a death or murder.
Well, it didn't happen there. So anyway, things started happening, and their neighbors were like, "Didn't you know? Do you know what happened there?" And they were like, "What?" They're like, "Google, whatever, news story. Here it is." They think this happened in your apartment, because she confessed to doing it there, and they were like, these people were like, "Would you come in and see what you could see?" And I'm like, again, I always ask the question, is it something you're afraid of? Is it bad? They're like, no, but it's just, we're noticing these things more and more. And I'm thinking, is it the anniversary? Is it something that's triggering this? So I talked to John about it. And I said, John, what would you do in a case like this? Because they weren't really asking for help. Like they weren't saying, come in, there's something bad here, help us get rid of it. They were just saying, we're experiencing things. We know that this happened here. Could you validate for us that it could be the spirit of the victim? And I talked to John, and John was like, John, don't do it. And I said, no. I said, I'm really intrigued. He said, John, he said, you get involved with this. And if these people are looking to go viral with this thing and have you come in there and talk about you being in there, and now you get tied to this case, and if they're family members of the person who was murdered still around, you could get tied up in a bunch of shoot that you want nothing to do with. He's like, if they're telling you that they just want you to try to validate and get proof of this and get you involved, they could have ulterior motives. He said, I wouldn't do it. And I said, well, if you wouldn't do it, then I ain't going to do it. Let somebody else go in there and do that. And I said, I was going to say yes. My initial gut instinct was like, wow, this sounds really, really intriguing. And I was going to do it.
Really?
But I called him and he's like, don't do it. Don't do it. And he was right. I didn't think about all the things that he was saying because, yeah, if they were people that were looking to sensationalize and be part of the story, and
yeah, because you never know what people's motives are for doing what they're doing.
And I could get caught up in a bunch of stuff that I wanted no part of just because
you're coming from a different angle and didn't think about
I was looking to kind of validate things and see if we can make contact and kind of experience. So why do you
think so I understand when people don't, when things are happening and people are questioning, is this really happening? But if people are telling you they know what this is, they know what's happening, they're not afraid of it, why would they need someone else to validate?
Because they're thinking that it might just be in their mind. Like, okay, for instance, if I woke up one night and
but that's what
if I woke up one night and a car went by and a shadow came through the room of someone walking by, and all of a sudden I was like, crap, I saw a shadow and I think I heard some things at night. And then by chance, I mentioned that to our neighbor and they said, hey, something might have happened in your apartment. Like an old lady lived there 30 years ago and she passed away in that apartment. Guess what? Everything in my brain from that moment on that happens in that place is paranormal.
So everything. So again, I go back to because I was on a phone call when they were talking, were they saying, we really have no idea, we just know something's happening here?
They just said they were experiencing things and it was happening with more frequency.
And they attribute it to?
They didn't know what it was. They said it from the time they moved in, they would hear things and but they weren't sure. They thought, again, it's a new place. You never know what the sounds and whatever. And again,
did they say if they ever had maintenance or anybody come check it out to see if it was? And then
they found out, and then they were like, wow, that is where we live. Yeah. So it could be that. And again, from that moment on, everything is related to that, what happened, whether it's part of it or not. Right.
It just automatically comes because of it was a story.
It would happen. All of us would think like that. I think.
It's common sense. I mean, it's a natural tie it into that.
I mean, again, where we live right now, if
so
there were little creaks and bangs and I found out some lady had a heart attack here at one time, I'd be like, holy shit, maybe all this time those creaks and bangs were her trying to.
But even you were intrigued. There wasn't a part of you that was like horrified, like maybe I don't want to jump into that?
No. Because like they said, maybe there's a story to tell. There is something unresolved. Maybe there is a way to reach out to that person, get some information and help them just, okay, I got everything. We acknowledge that your presence is here. If you want to move on, you could do that. I've got everything from all the information validated that you were here, and now you could go and
And
if
then
they
so I
choose to
look
do
at
that, they will.
things from another side of it too. It's just like,
I mean, look at the Halls Mills murder.
I know.
Nothing.
That was crazy.
No one went to jail for that.
No.
They were convicted, but not. They were charged, but not convicted. They went to trial, and yet that was a double murder. And there's bloody clothes that we were looking at. That real people were killed.
See, and that's a good point. Just because people die in the house, that happens every day, it doesn't mean it's haunted. And then that's true. So that's the curious part. How does something like that, how does it become a haunting? Is it because of the violence? Is it because of
the people that move in?
I mean, that's the question that we've never been able to find the answer. Everybody's searching for.
Because it could be one of something, or it could be everything. It could be the people that move in have a certain energy that the person who was there is more drawn to being in their house, negative or positive. It could be that one of the people are quote unquote sensitive and can pick up on that more than others. It could be a million different reasons. It could only be on holidays and anniversary. It could be anything. It really could be.
Yeah, I think when there's especially trauma, violence to that extent, I do think that there's a permanent stain or implant, like you said, Donna, that gets put right there. But I don't like being in those areas.
Like everybody talks about the Amityville horror, and I have my own opinions on the Warrens and a lot of the stuff they did, but I would never, ever, ever, ever move into a house where one person was murdered, nevertheless a whole family. Never. I don't care if you gave it to me for free, and if it was a mansion and you told me you'd pay the taxes on it every year, I would say no blanking way.
What if it was an Indian burial ground underneath?
No way. What?
An Indian burial ground underneath the house, the mansion, whatever. If someone wanted to give it to you, we'd
say no. No. Yeah, like Alex said, I'd flip it. I wouldn't live there. I just, there could be absolutely nothing there residually or intelligently, but just knowing that the rooms I'm walking through, that kind of horrific thing happened. I just, the vibe alone, that energy alone,
that stains there forever. You can't
nauseous and sick every time I walked into those
rooms. So what if something horrific like that happened and you?
And it may not be anything paranormal, just
the idea.
Yeah.
So let's say the Amityville horror. Let's say that they destroy that building and they rebuild there. Would you live there?
Yeah, on the land I would.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not so nervous about the land as I am the structure. That's a little different for me.
So you think the house itself is like a capsule holding?
I still would probably lean towards not living there. I mean, if I had a choice,
right,
I wouldn't. But like I said, how could you not, like, we go into historic homes all the time, right? And they're basically the same. They've added on rooms, they did whatever. But imagine you're living in a home where every time you enter this bedroom on the second floor, 2 kids were killed in that room. And every time you go to the room next door, the mother and father were killed there. How does that ever become
your happy place?
No, but how does it ever become not present in your thoughts and just routine?
Because some people
and regular and normal
have this ability to turn stuff off and it doesn't bother them.
Now, that house in Westfield's something different. That's a whole nother story, the Watcher house. But I mean, and
is it that one or the guy who killed all of his family?
No, that house burned down.
Oh, it burnt down.
The house burned down.
Wow.
But even if 5 families have lived there between now and the murder, I still couldn't live there. No way. It's just because, again, I don't care. 5 families that lived there over 20 years and had no issues, I would still think of those rooms as places where murders happened. And maybe because, that lingers in your brain, maybe, like, again, paranormal wise, you could bring spirit in because you're
So
focused,
you're opening that door, kind
you're
of.
focused, and you're going to kind of tap into that energy. Who knows? I would take that chance. No friggin' way. No way.
I did a kitchen, and an apartment owner walked in and told me the guy who walked in and told me the guy who once has died, and they found him exactly where I was laying on the floor. I got up real quick. I would too.
See, Luann never tells us the good stories. Did you read that one?
What?
Luann. She never tells us the good stories. She saves them. So that's how those South Jersey Hoagie people are. The house I grew up in was haunted. Supposedly, the lady ghost killed her husband there.
Okay.
See? That's why they call them hoagies and stuff. They don't know what the good stuff is and the bad
See,
stuff.
you're talking about that. I thought about the house you're talking about, but that house.
No, that's the list house that you're talking about. It burnt down. But no, I'm sure there may have been another house where someone killed their family in Westfield. I don't know. But the Titanic, yeah, sure.
We've heard that.
How could that not be haunted? It's got all those mementos from all those people that died horrible deaths.
If I don't know, I'm fine. But if I know that there's been something horrific or violent or whatever, and to me it's got that bad energy, and I think we all do have an instinctive feeling when we walk into a building, whether we feel comfortable or not. I mean, if you want to call it intuition, you want to call it, being whatever. But I do think that we all have that internal ability to tell if something fits or doesn't fit, if it's comfortable or not, just like meeting people.
No, I'm going back to the Amityville house because that's the one I'm stuck on. And you know what's weird is that, okay, let's compare that house, the Amityville house, to, let's say, the Lizzie Borden house. Would you feel the same if somebody gave you that house for free with no taxes?
Lizzie Borden?
Yeah.
I still wouldn't want to live there.
Would you feel as strongly as you did about Amityville?
Yes.
See, I wonder if because more time has elapsed, does it make it less sensitive for people to think like, oh, it's been, I can live in that house. I think anywhere a murder took place, I don't think I could live. No, I don't think I could, because I know me and I know my brain, and I know every time, like I said, I walked around that building or in that room, it would be right to the front of my brain. And I would literally visualize, like, God, what this must have looked like. Those poor kids, whatever.
I'm with you, Cindy. Doesn't matter when
I could never put plants in a.
But in my brain, it's the knowledge that I mean, come on. We all jokingly say I could kill someone. I'm so angry at this person. I could, I'd like to punch you. I'd like to punch you in the face, whatever. We've all been there. We've all said it. But here's the thing.
I bloody have never.
The energy, the mindset to literally think out and do something, an act so horrific that it takes someone's life. It's what that brings with it that I have the problem with. That's where I think it's like.
No, I do believe land is also haunted. I mean, Gettysburg is a prime example of that. I mean, that there's just big open areas and places where spirits exist out there. And whatever you build on that land and whatever you put there and around it, you're going to have spirits coming through. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to
go
anywhere else.
Like I said, I would still probably turn down the house that was built on the land.
And I'm going to be honest too. I don't think that death is the ultimate thing either that can cause stuff like that. Like let's take people that have survived horrific captivity of any kind, being forced into anything, human trafficking like that. I think those type of scenarios also can cause things to happen on that land or in that area or in that building that these women or men are held.
Check to me once and left, which gives you an idea what it's like to like me. You can't get out of here fast enough. Patricia, I'm not surprised. I like Patricia. I kid Patricia.
I love you, girl.
But I like Patricia. I do. But I'm joking, Patricia. But we were talking about what you're talking about. Oh, Patricia, you save it. I save it on my hard drive, and
He
I hold it.
does. How
And
about
I
getting
hold it,
over
and
the
I wait.
houses that became
No,
hospitals?
I was
Yeah,
watching
those are-
this one episode. I believe it was my favorite show, Ghost Adventures, and it's something similar to what you're talking to. It was an abandoned house, and in that house, crackheads and stuff lived there, and a few of them died in the house. But in the basement, they kept dogs in cages that they would fight, and a lot of dogs died and were injured and died down there or died in their cages. And when they were investigating it, they they would get a lot of stuff on their equipment, but they had dogs with them to see if the dogs could pick up on anything, and the dogs would not make it past the basement door. They would cry and they would pull back when they even tried to coax them into.
It
They
leaves
would
the
cry,
stain.
and I think the dogs picked up on that just like people, and they were like, horrific things happened to other dogs down there. We are not going down there. No friggin' way.
I believe that. I believe that wholeheartedly.
My grandma stepped in and little things have happened. I welcome. Like, yeah, again,
That's cool.
nothing wrong with relatives coming to visit if they passed away. And that's totally different than a murder. I mean, again, in my opinion, and again, hypothetically, the energy from the victims could be there, and they may have been great people in their lives, those children, those parents, and they could be good spirits because they were good people. But I think it's more the energy of the tragedy, and like she said, the intent and the evil that went into the loss of life, that you're afraid that remains.
You got to think of the human condition, and it should, and there's so many different ways of what happens to people. You've got someone that was traumatized in death, which they saw it coming or whatever, and how whatever. Someone who died and didn't was walking, and somebody, let's says, killed them from behind, and they were just completely taken by surprise and they didn't know. And then there's those that, let's talk about human trafficking, where somebody's been tortured their whole life and forced into unspeakable things over and over again. And you think about that trauma and what it does, not only to the individual and the spirit, but to that area as a combination.
Well, you're talking about asylums as well.
But exactly. Now you talk about a singular, but what happens when you start amassing a great number of that continually happening over and over and over and over again, like the asylums, like human trafficking, where men and women, girls, boys, whatever, are kept into these things that just keep happening over and over? What does that eventually create? What happens in those areas? How can those places end up ever being happy? That's got to be imprinted and held there. That type of trauma, that type of stuff that happens over and over again, and you can't understand it unless you've been. I mean, watching it on TV is not the same. Trust me, it's not. When you go through that stuff at the hands of other human beings, and not one, not two, many, over and over and over again, and there's so many of you, and you're watching someone else suffer from the same thing you're suffering from.
Oh my God, never.
It just keeps going and going. Yes, exactly. These are the things I try to. It's not the singular all the time. It's the buildup and what it creates and how it expands and what it becomes. And this is the stuff that I worry about.
That's how she was saying,
yeah,
like
exactly.
In Germany. I mean,
oh God, we watched
that land itself. You cannot help but probably walk onto that land and just feel the anguish, the evil, and the heartache and everything that goes along with it. As soon as you step on those concentration camp lands, you probably can't take 10 steps without being bombarded with all of that. There's no way. No way.
Not if you're
no
human.
way. No way.
Not if you have a soul.
But anyway, we went around the horn here, but
Yeah.
tomorrow night, like I said, I'll be at the Creeper Gallery. This Saturday we'll be at Centenary University with Donna's objects, the three that we picked out from the live that we did a long time ago. So for you guys that'll be there, we'll see you there. But tomorrow night, hopefully, I need to find a good one. I need to find another. Been a while since I had the mannequin. Was the last one that really gave me a good show there. I love that mannequin, and every time I see it, I kind of stay away. You go over there.
That's funny.
You go over there. I take that mannequin, I put it over to the side, and I'm like, you stay there. I'm gonna do my thing over here.
So Laura wants you to do the bonnet again.
No.
Thank you. Do a dark one, Laura.
I will find. I'm gonna find one tomorrow. 100%. I'm gonna find a dark one, and I'm gonna. Again, it's been too long, but I've been dealing with little Susie, who, little grandma, whatever. Who, watched the whole thing. John Zaffis wasn't on tonight.
That's funny. It was like my wife Susan. Oh, it didn't come up on my thing. You got to go back down. This is the one you teased that you said that it was about John Zaffis.
Do you believe that it could change who you are being in the Amityville house environment? I think. See, I don't agree. You say no. I don't agree with that.
You think it can possess you?
I think if you're fragile,
yes,
as it is, and that could be in your physical state, in your mental state, especially in your mental state, due to mental condition or drug addiction or whatever. I think putting yourself in that kind of environment could potentially affect and alter your mood and your personality. And cause worsen your depression.
But I don't mean just because you walk in the door it automatically happens.
No, that I don't believe in. But
no, anyway. The woman that said something, she was there for Zaffis. He said that she watched this whole thing without Zaffis being on. Keep going.
I don't know what you're talking about. My wife Eileen watched the whole thing, even though John Zaffis wasn't on tonight. Oh, that's the guy?
Yes. Mike Walter.
Well, Mike, you could come from now on. She's on probation. She's on probation because, again, she was like, what do you think we came for? And I was like, wow, thank you for that. And she looked at me like, huh? I'm like, well, what does that say about us? But I knew she was joking, and I was joking back with her. Again, all I care about is that people get what they want out of it. If you're there for John, I'm there for John too. Believe me, I would drive to go hang out with John and do an investigation with John. But as long as you're having a good time at our events, even if nothing happens and you enjoy just hanging out with us, and if you have a great time, great. Hopefully we'll see you again. But the whole idea is hopefully you get out of it what you wanted to, and it was worth the money you spent on it. That's all that matters.
That's what matters
at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And raising money for these sites that we support. But see you tomorrow from the Creeper Gallery, 8:00. Have a good night.
Stay safe, stay healthy, and please remember to be kind to each other.
You bloody well better.
I'll get ya.